Hello. So, I just returned from my morning jog, and a thought struck me. It's very poignant that it needs to be shared. So, recently I watched a Twitter feed by Deepika Padukone, in which she's one of our very famous leading Indian Bollywood actresses. Indian actresses. So the challenge she posed was, in one of the movies she's playing the role of a lady who's been acid attacked on the face, and her challenge was, if somebody can replicate it, the one who can best replicate an acid attacked face would get a prize or something like that. And there was a lot of backlashing that this is bad propaganda, this is a cheap way of publicizing something. And my stand was that she was standing for something that most people shun. Now, our standards of beauty is a pretty face, probably a lot of foundation, a lot of makeup, and preferably fair. No matter what your ethnicity is, you would want to look fair. So somehow worldwide, our definitions of beauty somehow, at least majorly, has been limited by a fairness and with flawless skin and young and with a particular regular even symmetrical face shape. Now I'm probably more biased in terms of the female definitions of what is beauty, and I haven't really forayed into really looking into the male definitions of beauty on what is a idealized, upheld versions of what is beauty. Now, I'm speaking here only in terms of the female. I'll probably make another one with the male version. Now, my point here is, in making this video, is scar is not just something as a result of an acid attack. In the course of living too, our face shows those signs of having lived a life. For example, right now I have dark circles. Yeah, I have lines. My hair is thinning, and I have differences in the symmetry of my face. And this is now because right now I'm going through a phase where I'm leveling up my the work that my enterprise is standing by, Medicine Intelligence, and it requires some amount of work which does not necessarily involve looking beautiful or looking pretty. And so my focus is on the work. Sometimes I stay up late night, or sometimes I don't sleep overnight, or catch a few hours of sleep and then back to work, or my diet is grab a bite where I can find one. So all that shows up. And this is the phase too. So there are some phases like this where you need to do what needs to be done, and everything else sort of takes a back seat, but they are happening, but not at those ideal paces. These are phases in life, yeah. And then then comes a phase where everything is balanced and even, because everything is set in place, and now things are moving in a more even, predictable, at a more optimal pace. But then stages of development, and then then there are stages of where you need to let go of things, so there will be a different kind of movement for it. So these are different phases, these are different rhythms in life, in being and becoming, in developing, yeah. And this has its own effects on different people. Now, maintenance of health is about what you do to maintain an optimal state. Things come, things go, things happens in the house we live in, and then we move through different places of setting things right, bringing order back, so there is health, and then we are bouncing back into what is healthy and sustainable. So those are maintenance things. So there are aspects that we don't know what we need to maintain about. Say, for example, the dark circles, the lines, the symmetry of my face, the constitution of my entire body. So these all need maintenance periodically. Otherwise, they go misshapen. Similarly, a life goes misshapen if you're not periodically doing something to bring back that balance, to maintain it. So bringing back the symmetry and the maintenance of constitution of the person is what Medicine Intelligence is standing by. Yeah, what Medicine Intelligence makes available. Now, here what I'm bringing attention to is the effect of living different phases of life. Now, this is between day before to today. So this is what has happened to my face. You see all of these marks? These are also scars. These are also scars left by my experiences of living, maybe different kinds of stresses. Not so these are also scars in some ways, marks left by experiences of living, and precipitates from experiencing life, going through different kinds of things. So scars need not only be that by an acid attack. Those are more obvious ones. We shun that because our definition of duty is an ideal one, of which an acid face attacked person, they have more visible marks of it, and we are not paying attention to these subtle ones. We think, okay, maybe the person hasn't eaten well, maybe not rested well, but we don't see them as scars. We don't see them as effects from living life. And they are beautiful too. If you look at a mother's face, you will see the strain and the tension and the different kinds of things that goes on inside her in maintaining and raising a family. And those are beautiful scars, but they are scars too. But not many of them care enough to see them as for what they are. Maybe if people did see that these marks, these effects on the bodily constitution, is because he or she cares for others. And that if others are able to see these marks and can support them, then maybe they won't have these marks. They would bounce back. So is a person with an acid who's been affected by somebody else's wrath in a violent way, but can bounce back to life with sufficient support, adequate support, and the space to be themselves. Our definition of duty definitely needs to include the various ranges of what happens in a beautiful face, say from dawn to dusk. A beautiful face goes through, they're not just sitting there posing for a photograph all day long. They're living life. And what happens to a beautiful face from morning, from dawn to dusk, from birth until death? We are all born as babies, and they are like beautiful people. But what happens to that beautiful little face as they live through from birth to death? What happens? Between when the sun rises and the sun sets, does the face always remain the same? Does the bodily constitution always remain the same? What happens during the day? And what do we do to support a person to bounce back into health? What do we do to support a person, you, to come back into optimal health? There are things we can do. There are things we can do to help others too. I'll leave you with this thought as an inquiry, maybe even if it's just something that invites you to think about in these terms. I will keep posting further videos to help support you and people around you, to support each other in being beautiful, in maintaining being beautiful, maintaining looking beautiful too. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for listening.